Hello and welcome all on the Whiteboard Learning platform. My name is Anuradha Tripathi and we are going to discuss the current affairs related aspect for the month of October. Today's session is going to be very important because we are not only going to discuss the current affairs, but I will discuss that how to identify one particular news which is important for the UPSC civil services exam. And apart from this, we are also going to discuss that how a single current affairs can be the part of the various topic which is mentioned in the different journal study paper. So without the further delay, we will start our discussion. So as far as our today's session is concerned, we are going to discuss this topic from the national affairs. We will discuss Z Mohra tunnel. Okay, so this is in news because recently a militant have attacked on the employees of an infrastructure development company in Kashmir region which were involved in the construction of this particular tunnel. Okay, so this is related to GS paper 3 Indian economy topic. Okay, now the second topic that we will be discussing about a nature restoration law, that is also related to GS paper 3, but environment and ecology section. Okay, from Indian economy we are going to discuss about advanced reservation period that is related to the railway. Okay, railway is one of the subtopic in infrastructure topic of GS paper 3, again the Indian economy. Then we will be discussing about Isam Portal. This is also related to GS paper 3 Indian economy, employment, and it is also related to GS paper 2 related to policy and program launched by the government of India or the state. Okay, so this is related to GS paper 2 and 3. Now the third next topic is about candy leaf. This is related to the geography which is mentioned in the GS paper 1. From the environment section, we will going to discuss a one phenomena known as bioluminance. Okay, so this is related to again biodiversity, GS paper 3. And last, one report that has been released by World Wildlife Fund for Nature. Name of the report is Living Planet Report 2024. This is also related to the biodiversity related aspect of the GS paper 3. Now we will start our discussion. See, this news basically it is published in the Indian Express newspaper, which talks about that militant have attacked on the worker of infrastructure company which was involved in the construction of this Z Mohra tunnel. Okay, so basically here what we need to understand, whenever you find such kind of the news and you are having a ambiguity that how to relate with the syllabus of the paper, so here we can see this tunnel is basically a infrastructure development. So in GS paper 3 there is a topic related to infrastructure, and in the similar paper there is a one topic related to internal security. Okay, so the reason being it is in news because there is a militant attack on the employees of infrastructure development company, which has resulted into the killing of 7 people. So this is what the related to security related issues. So the same news is relevant for the different topic in the same paper, GS paper 3. Okay, so how you can utilize this news? So see, as far as infrastructure is concerned, So you must prepare for the challenges related to infrastructure development in India. Challenges of infrastructure development. Okay. So there are multiple challenges, social challenges, political challenges, economical challenges. And now with this particular news, what we have understand, there is a security related issues as well. For the infrastructure development, there should be a proper law and order. There should be a stable law and order condition, but attacking by the militant, that will discourage the investment and therefore infrastructure development. Fine. So you can quote this as an example as far as the challenge related to the infrastructure development is concerned in the security related issues. Now in the GS paper 3, there is also a security related aspect. So internal security. So if there is no internal security in India, so what will be the consequences? So it will create the roadblock or hindrance to the development of infrastructure. Okay, so we have seen that how the same news can be utilized in the different syllabus pattern in the GS paper. Okay, so this is about mains. Coming to from the perspective of the prelims. Okay, so what we need to know, we have to look after the specific features of this the Mohra tunnel. For example, where it is constructed, what is the significance of this tunnel, which places it is going to be connected. Okay, so like this we have to prepare from the perspective of prelims exam. So as far as this tunnel is concerned, if we talk about its length, okay, so this is a 6.4 kilometer that is located in Gangagir village of the Kashmir at an altitude of approximate 8500 feet. Understand? And here this is going to connect basically the Sonam Marg Health Resort that is in the Kangan town. Okay, that is a very famous, one of the important famous tourist spot that is located in Kashmir Leh highway. Fine. So here why the government is constructing this particular tunnel, that you need to understand, that is very very important. We all know that Kashmir is the region which is prone to snowfall. Okay. So because of the snowfall or avalanches, there is a blockage on the road. So basically which adversely impact the connectivity. Okay, and as far as the security related issue is concerned, so this region is very fragile. So in order to support the army, there is very important that there should be all weathered connectivity. Okay, so if there is no all weathered connectivity, then army basically depend upon air force, which ultimately increase the operational cost of security in this particular region. So what we have understand here, the strategic importance of this Z Mohra tunnel is that it is going to provide the all-weathered connectivity, with the help of which it is having a strong relevance for the military, because it will reduce the dependency on the air force to provide man and material in this particular region. Okay. Now, another important thing is why this is termed as the Z Mohra tunnel, because of there is a Z-shaped road stretch. Okay, so this is the reason that why it is termed as a Z Mohra tunnel. Another thing is that you should know that in 2012, Border Road Organization have started the construction of this particular tunnel, for which a contract was given to a infrastructure development company. It was supposed to be launched in to open to be in 2024, but because of the recent election and implementation of the model code of conduct, its inauguration was delayed and cold opening was done in the month of February 2024. So this is about Z Mohor tunnel. So here in this map we can see This is the reason that is going to, this is the reason where this tunnel is, Z Mohra tunnel is located, and it is a part of a major Zojila tunnel project. So this Z Mohra tunnel is the part of this Zojila tunnel tunnel project that is going to establish the connectivity in between the Srinagar and Ladakh region. Okay. And here this Sonmarg is located in this particular tunnel area, which will basically boost the tourism in this particular region, as there will be the all weathered road connectivity. Now we will be discussing about, next topic is a nature restoration law. Okay, so there was an article which was published in the Hindu newspaper. This article basically talking about that India also needs a nature restoration law on the line of European Union. Here we are going to understand that why there is a need of a nature restoration law in India, and what is the characteristics features of European Union nature restoration law. So we have know that India needs this kind of aspect of, because of the various challenges in terms of environment degradation, and this environment degradation is related to basically the land degradation. Okay, and this land degradation is happening because of various reasons. For example, unsustainable agriculture practices, so which is culminating into the land degradation. For example, if you see that out of the total area in India, approximate 30%, which is a 29.70%, land is degraded because of the over exploitation. Okay, and the second most important challenge in India is the desertification. Desertification is decreasing the fertility of the soil. Okay, this is related to the health of the soil. So if we talk about an area which is prone to the desertification, that is 83.69 million hectare. And apart from this, there are various environmental challenges. So if we see that all the area in India, in one way or another way, facing the various environmental issues, right away from the desertification to a land degradation. So if India wanted to tackle these challenges, then India also needs this nature restoration law, and that too on the lines of European Union law. So here we will see that what is the nature restoration law of European Union. This is very, very important, specifically for the prelims exam, because in the prelims exam there is a high weightage of environmental related topic. Okay, so what question can be framed from this topic is, as far as nature restoration law seen in the news is related to what? Okay, so in options you will have various environmental related organization, but this is related to the European Union, and this is important because for the first time such huge continent wide comprehensive framework have been developed in order to protect the climate change, or in order to tackle the challenges of the climate change, and to protect the biodiversity related issues. So this nature restoration law of European Union is having the three major, this is going to deal with the three major crises. Okay, so one is related to the climate change. Okay, because of this, what is happening, there is a habitat destruction which is resulted into the biodiversity loss. So second, we can easily understand, because of the climate change, the second challenge that this particular law is going to deal is related to the biodiversity loss, and last is related to the environmental degradation. Fine. So this nature restoration law is going to deal with the triple crisis. One is climate change, a second is biodiversity loss, and the third is environmental degradation. As far as this law is concerned, it is setting a binding target on all the members of the European Union. This you should remember, that it is not voluntary, it sets the binding target to all the member states. So here we need to understand what are those targets. Okay, so here in European continent, the member country of European Union, they need to restore at least 20% of the land and the sea area by 2030. Okay, so this land and sea area include the terrestrial ecosystem and related to ecosystem nearby the sea or coastal area. And gradually uh, this is going to be applicable for all the ecosystem, and that too by 2050, whereby all this ecosystem needs to be restored. That can be either grassland ecosystem, okay, so tree based ecosystem, grassland ecosystem, freshwater based ecosystem, saline water based ecosystem. So all the ecosystem needs to be protected under this nature restoration law of European Union by 2050. Okay, and apart from this, there is one more obligation among the member is to improve the urban green space. Okay, so which means this is also promoting sustainable urbanization. Okay, so this is about the sustainable urbanization. And apart from this, there is also the important aspect is there is a need to contribute about to maintain the free flow of the river. Why? Because if there is an obstacle in the flow of the river, then the biodiversity of the biodiversity of river will be adversely impacted. So there should be basically the ecological flow of the river should be maintained. Here the meaning of ecological flow is that the minimum amount of the water that needs to be flowed without the obstacle in order to protect the biodiversity or the microorganism of river. Okay, so there should be the free flow of the river by removing the artificial barriers. Here, what are the artificial barriers? For example, if the dam is constructed, dam is basically obstructing the flow of the water. Understand? Now, another is there should be increased pollinator population that is going to basically preserve the biodiversity. Okay, so all this is going to be contribute the target of there should be a 3 billion additional tree should be planted throughout the European Union. This is very important that you should remember that under this particular law, the European Union have set the target of planting 3 billion additional tree and throughout the European Union. This is why it is the first continent-wide initiative in order to restore the nature, and therefore it is very important for the exam. Now, so as this target is having the binding target, so every member country or every state should have, they must adopt the restoration plan. Here what is the meaning of this restoration plan is that how they are going to achieve this target. So this restoration plan is related to achieve this target. Okay, and their restoration plan also include that what is the socio-economic cost of this particular restoration plan. Fine. So here the socio-economic impact is, for example, if in order to remove the artificial barriers, so dam may not be constructed. So what is the economic cost? So there will be decrease in the energy creation or energy security. Okay, there might be displacement of community. So this cost should be minimal, and at the same time the nature should be restored with all these binding target. So this is about the nature restoration law, and that was discussed in the newspaper in the background that India is also facing the various challenges as far as the land degradation, desertification challenges is concerned. So this is the right time that India should also have this law on the line of European Union. Now, the next topic that we are going to discuss, which is in news, that is also published in the Hindu newspaper from the Indian economy section about the advance reservation period. Okay, so this is related to railway. Railway is mentioned in GS paper 3, infrastructure topic. So if you have a broader idea about the syllabus, it will be very easy for you to identify the topic. So what exactly have been done in this advance reservation period policy of this railway? Basically, an individual can book the ticket well in advance in the railways with the minimum window that is available till now is 4 months. Okay, so approximately 120 days before, an individual can book the ticket well in advance. But now, under this advance reservation period, this 4-month period have been reduced to 2 months. That is the 60 days. And now this new policy will come into effect from the 1st of November 2024. So from the next month onwards, the advance window which is available to the individual to book the ticket in the railways, that is reduced to the 2 months. Okay, this 4-month policy was launched in 2008 May 1st. Fine. So this is about the advance reservation period related to railways. Now, the next news that we are going to discuss is about that central government have launched a revised version of Isam Portal, which is one-stop solution for unorganized worker. Fine. See here, this news was published in the business line. Even if you will give the due attention to the headline also, you will understand some of the fact. Even the headline of the newspaper sometime a bit for the exam. So here, by reading the headline, what we have understand, this e-shram portal, okay, that is something, shram means what? Labor. Okay, so, and that to labors belongs to which sector? Unorganized sector, and it is a one-stop solution for them. So from the headline itself, we can understand a lot of things, that what is going to be in the main content of the news. Fine. So that's how you should develop the habit, that how to go in between the words as far as the headline of the newspaper is concerned. Okay. So here, this e-shram portal, basically, it was initially launched by the Ministry of Labor and Employment in the month of August 26, 2021. Here, what is this portal is basically, see, there are a number of government scheme launched by the government in order to promote the welfare of the worker. Okay, for example, there is MG Narega scheme under the purview of Ministry of Rural Development. There is a scheme, namely One Nation, One Ration Card. Okay, this One Nation, One Ration Card scheme is launched by the government of India. That is basically a revision in the PDS system, whereby if a worker migrate to the another place or another state, still he can get his portion of ration under the PDS system. So this is what these kind of the schemes are meant to promote the welfare of the labor class. Fine. So all the schemes comes under the purview of the different ministry. Fine. But at the same time, there is a need of coordination among all the ministry as far as the unorganized sector is concerned. So all the social security related scheme which is meant for the unorganized sector, that is provided on this particular portal. Okay. So now what will happen? A labor from the unorganized sector, they can register themselves. They can register themselves on this e-shram portal and can have access to all the benefit of all the scheme at one particular portal. Fine. So this is what the basic objective of this Isam portal. So till now, basically more than 300 crores worker have been registered themselves on this Isam portal in the last 3 years of span. Now this government have launched revised version of this portal, revised version of the portal, whereby this is acting as a one-stop solution which is consolidating and integrating the data from the various central ministry and department in a unified repository. So I told you there are multiple schemes. One is MG Narega, that comes under the purview of Ministry of Rural Development. Okay, there is a one more scheme, One Nation, One Ration Card. So all the information related to one unified repository. So this revised version is a part of Ministry of Labor Employment 100 days agenda. This 100 days agenda is related to first 100 days of newly constituted government of 2024. We know that in 2024, Lok Sabha have been constituted newly and the government have been formed. So they have set the agenda for the initial 100 days. So this revised version of e-Shram portal is the agenda of Ministry of Labor and Employment, and that too for the first 100 days agenda. Here the aim is basically to simplify and provide the seamless access for all the scheme which is meant to promote the social security of unorganized worker. So here, if I'll give you the keyword, then you should remember the name of the ministry for the exam. Okay, you should remember the name of the ministry. Okay, then you should remember social security scheme, unorganized worker, registered on e-Shram portal. If there will be the statement about organized worker, so that is going to be wrong. So you should remember that this is related to the unorganized worker. Now, from the next news that we are going to discuss about one leaf, namely candy leaf. Okay, and the news about this was published on PIB. So what is this news? Basically, that candy leaves have the potential beyond its natural sweetness property. So basically, one Guwahati based institution have done the research and the report have been published which says that this candy leaves which is having the natural sweetening that have the therapeutic potential as well. So this is having a natural non-caloric sweetening. From the name itself, we can see candy which is sweet in nature. So this is having the sweetening, means related to sugar. Okay. What research is saying that it is having the therapeutic properties. Therapeutic property means the ability to heal or cure any disease. So this is going to deal with the various issues like endocrine, metabolic, immune and cardiovascular related disease. Okay. So here, how we can understand that this news is important and we should study about candy leaf, because this news which is published on PIB, it mentioned a very important line that says that Assam export this stevia. Stevia is another name of candy leaf. Okay, if there will be the development of stevia or the candy leaf in this region, then the northeastern region is going to have the economic development. So therefore, it become very essential for us to study about this candy leaf, because that is the part of the vegetation also in GS paper 1. Fine. So we should study about what is the particular characteristics of this particular stevia. Okay, what is its usage and the applications, because the news itself on the PIB mentioned that Assam export the stevia to the worldwide. So here now we will see that what is the physical characteristics of this particular leaf. So this candy leaf, you should know what are the alternative others names. So this is also named as stevia or honey herb. Okay, because it is having a sweetness, so that is termed as what? It is an alternative for the sugar. Fine. So from here itself we can understand that can be served as a element of sweetness specifically for the people who are suffering from a diabetic related issues. Okay. So that is what the significance of this honey herb. The same article also mentioned that Japan basically have approved stevia as a sweetening agent in 1970, and now Japan is importing this stevia to deal with the diabetes related issues. Fine. So this is important fact that you should remember. As far as this leaf is concerned, so we know that in GS paper 1 geography we should know about the vegetation. So here, what is the type of this vegetation? This is a subtropical frost sensitive perennial herb. This is, you should remember, as far as its characteristics is concerned in terms of the type of the vegetation. Subtropical means that it is grown well beyond the tropics, means 23.5 degree north and 23.5 degree south. Fine. And that too frost sensitive, means if there will be the snowfall kind of aspect, then it cannot well grown. Fine. Another important aspect, that it can reach to 2 feet height, and it grows mostly on the soil which are sandy loam, or the loam that is having the high organic matter, which means if the soil is having the organic in nature and having very less fertilizer which is based on fertilizer based on the lower nitrogen, that is more suited for the cultivation of this particular candy leaves. So these are the aspects that you should remember from the perspective of geography. Okay, so it needs organic fertilizers, well work as far as this candy leaf is concerned, and it is grown well in the subtropical area. Okay, and that too in the frost sensitive, means it is sensitive to the frost, so its leaves is going to be killed if there is a temperature is very low. Fine. Now we will see that what is the usage. So stevia leaf is a natural sweetener which is having a 300 times more sweetness as compared to the sugar, and that too it is in its natural state. So if you will process these stevia leaves, that is going to have even more sweetness beyond the 300 times also. And unlike any other sweetening agent, for example honey, that is also having, the stevia leaf is also having its own distinctive flavor. Okay, this is having on its distinctive flavor, so it has its own a special flavor. It does not taste exactly like sugar. Despite this its heavy sweetness, there is a bitter aftertaste also. This is very very important that you should remember from the perspective of exam. Now we have seen that this article is saying Assam export it, so it must be well in demand in the international market. So for what reason, that you should know. So here it is a wonderful substitute for what? Sugar. So it is used is in basically jam, dried seafood, gums and the ice cream, and it is safe for the diabetics and hypoglycemic and diabetics related patient. Fine. So this is about its action and use. Now, how you should identify that this is important for the UPSC exam? So that we will understand with the help of one question. See, there was a question in 2023 which was asking about a particular kind. This question was mentioning a different tree species. One is jackfruit, another is mahua, and a third is teak. This question was asking that which among the following are the deciduous tree. If you see these three options, these two are mentioned in NCERT, and that too 11th class. Okay, but jackfruit is not mentioned in the NCERT. So what we can understand, this UPSC prelims question is having the combination of a static which is coming from NCERT and current affair aspect. Fine. So even if you know these two, if you have the knowledge about these two aspects, if you don't know about jackfruit, whether it is a deciduous or the evergreen, then you cannot answer this question. So therefore, it is very important to look after the current affairs aspect, because the UPSC prelims questions are the combination of the static and the current affairs. So out of these questions, answer of this question is mahua and the teak is the deciduous. So here the answer is only to option B, because jackfruit is evergreen, which means it will not shed their leaves. Now, the next news we will be discussing about a rare phenomena which occurred on the Chennai beaches, namely bioluminescence. Okay, so here we need to understand what is the concept of bioluminescence. So with the word itself we can understand. Bio means what? Microorganism. Okay, and luminance means lighting, which means microorganism having some phenomena related to lightning aspect. Now the news says about the beach. Beach means here microorganism must be marine based organism. Fine. So that's how you should decode the word itself. Fine. So what exactly happened is, recently the beaches of the Chennai region have, whereby the tourists have observed a phenomena of the bioluminescence on the surface water nearby the coastal area. So that is what attracting the view of the people around the beaches of the Chennai. So here we are going to understand from the perspective of exam what is the bioluminescence and how does it occurring. So bioluminescence is basically a natural phenomena which is produced by the certain marine organism, primarily the plankton. Plankton is basically marine organism that can be either a plant based, namely phytoplankton, or animal based, namely zooplankton. If we talk about a specific plankton having the bioluminescence aspect, that is the dinoflagellatus. Okay, so this plankton have the aspect of this bioluminescence capacity. So what exactly happened, that during this bioluminescence, these microorganisms have one enzyme, namely the luciferase, which act as a catalyst in order to burn the fuel which is a part of their body itself, and that fuel is nothing but a compound, namely luciferin. Okay, so this is an enzyme which is working as a catalyst to burn this fuel which is the luciferin, and that too in the presence of oxygen. We all know that for the burning it is very essential to have the presence of oxygen. So in these microorganisms there is a burning of luciferin compound, and after the burning what will happen, there will be the cold light produced, which is nothing but this bioluminescence. Here what is the meaning of cold light? See, whenever you switch on any tube or bulb, after some time what will happen, the temperature will rise. So means there is a heating. Okay, so this is something which is absent in the burning of this luciferin compound in this plankton which is marine based. So cold light means it will not having the heat element when they are producing or lightening up during this bioluminescence aspect. Here one more thing we have to understand from the perspective of exam, that what are the favorable condition for this bioluminescence phenomena. So during warm condition, this bioluminescence can be observed very easily. Reason being is, during warm condition what will happen, the metabolism of this organism will increase, that will further replicate. Another important aspect is, during when the temperature, when there is a warm weather condition, so the water temperature of the water will increase, which basically restrict the mixing of water. Okay, so which restrict the mixing of water, and therefore it is very easy to observe this bioluminescence phenomena. So these are the conditions that you should remember, that during the warm weather condition, this is very widespread. So what is the phenomena, means how this is going to be occurred, and what is the condition. Okay, another important thing that you should remember is it visible only on the surface or the deep water ocean? So if we see that it is very widespread among the deep sea animal in general, but it is not like that, it is not observed on the surface. Okay, so recently the Chennai beaches were lightened up because that was quite visible on the surface of the ocean. Fine. And another thing we should also remember, that it is not only the beaches of the Chennai which have observed the phenomena of bioluminescence. So apart from Chennai, Havelock Island in the Andaman region, and this Thiruvanayamur beach in the Chennai, and in the Karnataka it is Mattu beach, and last but not the least it is Bangaram Island in the Lakshadweep. So means Tamil Nadu, Andaman and Nicobar Island, Lakshadweep and Karnataka beaches have previously observed this unique phenomena of visible light on the surface of the coastal area. So this is about bioluminescence. Now the last topic of today's discussion is about Living Planet report that was published on Down to Earth newspaper. Okay, so here we are going to discuss about that what is the outcome of this report, and how which is the organization is responsible for the publishing of this particular report. So as far as this report is concerned, it is important because in GS paper 3 there is a one topic, namely biodiversity, mentioned in the environment ecology section. So this report is talking about that there is a decline in the various species. Declining is the species means reduction in the biodiversity, and hence this topic is important from the exam perspective. So this 2024 report of Living Planet report, here what we need to remember from the perspective of exam, first is you should know that which organization is responsible. Second thing, you should know what is the what are the aspect as far as the report is concerned. And the third is there any particular title or the theme around this particular report. So here the Living Planet report is released by World Wildlife Fund for Nature. It is an international organization, and it published this Living Planet report on the interval of 2 years, which means previously this report was published in 2022. Fine. So this is not an annual publication, it is a biennial publication by the World Wildlife Fund for Nature. This is one thing from the perspective of exam. Then the second is, what is the title? So a system in the peril. So 2024 report is having the title A System in Perils. Now we are going to discuss about what is the aspect of report. So what this report is saying, that in the last 50 years, from 1970 to 2020, okay, so wildlife population have been declined by 73%. What is more even shocking, if you see the trend of this wildlife population declining in 2020, this is 2020, in 2020 this decline was 68%, then in the next report it is a 69%. Now in 2024 this report is saying about 73%, which means there is a upward trend of wildlife population declining. And this is one of the major challenge for the world at large, that because of the climate change there is a habitat destruction and therefore this wildlife population is declining. If we talk about the specific characters of this 73% decline, so most of the species that have been affected is belongs to the freshwater species. Okay, freshwater species, whereby the 85% decline have been observed, followed by a 69% that is the terrestrial species, then a 56% decline in the marine population. So here if we see, then it is a freshwater species have seen the most decline, then terrestrial, and then marine based species. And if you see that the decline in the continent wise, then it is the Latin America and the Caribbean island which have observed the 95% decline. Second is Africa, a 76, then Asia Pacific region, a 60%, and last one is Europe. Okay, so this is about the nature of the decline as far as the different geographical region is concerned. So the major decline have been observed in the Latin American and the Caribbean island, and that to the 95%. So this is about this particular report. Now we will see about this World Wildlife Fund for Nature. So as I mentioned that it is a basically world leading conservation organization, and it works more than in 100 countries, and it is a international non-governmental organization which was established in 1969 in order to conserve the nature. Okay, so to conserve the nature and to reduce the threat which is impacting the diversity of this earth. So the major objective is to protect the nature. Fine. The last thing you should also remember is about the headquarter. So the headquarter is based in Gland, Switzerland in Europe. So this is all about the current affairs for this today class, and all these topics are very important for the UPSC Civil Services examination. So thank you so much. All the very best.